Alright, reptiles is up next. But first, here we have a view of that peacock again. Lamppost over there. And I think that's about it. So yeah. Here we have that stage. And here we have the picnic pavilion. And here we have a view of the tea room building. And a gate which leads back to the parking lot, which we unfortunately cannot go through. Here we have the Komodo dragon. You can see him under the tree right there. And we have the statue of the Komodo dragon, just watching ya. And here we have the inside of the exhibit and the eggs diorama display. Aw, look at that little baby Komodo dragon. Here's a history of the zoo displayed on that billboard over there. Reptiles to the left, birds to the right. Here we have the false gharials. But I don't think they're really out today. About to head inside the Reptile Encounter terrarium house. After that, birds. Here we go. First things first, you have the Magnificent Seven, which is the species such as green anaconda, reticulated python, African python, amethystine python, Indian python, boa constrictor, and king cobra. First up, we have a green anaconda. You can see him not in the water, but out of the water today. Then we have a Mengshan pit viper. You can see him relaxing on his little rock and one near the watering hole. And then we have a Verdant's water monitor, just relaxing on that rock near that door. And one on that branch. Here's some info about alligators, crocodiles, caimans, gharials, and false gharials. And here we have this closed exhibit, but up there you can see all the different reptiles from South America to Central America. It's just a brief closure as of right now because of the zoo improvement zone, but hopefully they don't turn it into a permanent one. Oh look, here we have that board. And guess what? Here's Kermit the Frog, trapped in that box. You know Muppet Vision's going away too, but yeah. Anyways, moving on, we have Holmes Hinchback Tortoise. And here we have Western Shingleback Skink. But neither of these species seem to be out today. Yep, just an empty exhibit. Here we have a lace monitor. You can see some right now. There we have the tortoise. See, I told you he was gonna be out. Here we have a Weber sailfin lizard here. You can see him fully out of the water, or halfway, should I say. And another one just curiously watching on that branch, hanging on for its life. Up next, adaptive animals. Here we have Malagasy leaf-nosed snake, and that's his little terrarium. Then we have a neon day gecko and a Malagasy spider tortoise. There he is right now. Then we have a Chinese crocodile lizard, and he's fully out of the water today. Then we have a Taylor shield-tailed agama, and that's his little terrarium. Then we have a Kimberly rock monitor. You can see his tail, but you can't see the full species. Then we have an annulated tree boa. You can see his skin. That's it.
There's supposed to be 4 things in here.
Here we have a terrarium where casket-headed iguanas shared together, along with dying poison dart frogs, yellow-banded poison dart frogs, and spiny-headed tree runners. And that's their little terrarium. There he is right now.
I see that one. Is that him up there?
And here's a little froggy. And next up, we have a Central Fijian banded iguana. You can see him hanging out on that log over there.
Oh, he's a turtle.
The next terrarium we have is a black-breasted leaf turtle. And that's his little terrarium over there. Then we have Amazon tree boa, each getting 3 separate exhibits. 1, there he is over there on that branch. 2, coiled up on that tree. And 3, all coiled up on that tree again. Up next, venomous reptiles.
See, he's white and kind of green.
First up, we have the Gila monster.
Jason, did you see this one?
There's that sign for him.
We could see the pit viper.
There's an Eilish pit viper, and that's his terrarium. There he is, up in that corner. Here's McGregor's pit viper, and that's his little terrarium. You can see him hiding behind the plants. Here we have a Sri Lankan pit viper, and that's his little terrarium. Then we have a prehensile tailed skink hiding in that log over there. We have an Ethiopian pit viper. He's just lying on that ground. Then we have another exhibit for McGregor's pit viper, and there he is, laying on that rock. And then we have the reptile nursery, home to desert horned viper. You know, Planet Zoo actually has a horned viper, too. It's in the arid animal pack. But for now, let's move on and show you the black tree monitor sign. And that's its terrarium. Next up, we have Road Garter. That's his little terrarium. While we're waiting, we're just gonna show you what this terrarium looks like. And yeah. Here we have a strawberry poison dart frog. Then we have a giant horned lizard. You can see him hanging out near that drinking pool. It's meant for drinking, not swimming. Then we have a file-eared tree frog. And there's his little terrarium. And then we have the incredible egg display. What's the difference? Push that button and see what happens. Nothing happens, but something did used to happen. But moving on, we have the Smallwoods anole. Here he is, right there, just on top of that log. A Solomon Islands ground boa. He prefers to be on the ground because he's a grounded reptile. Here we have the Henkel's leaf-tailed gecko. You can see him relaxing on that log, and one stuck on the wall, and another stuck on the wall. And then we have a green-backed mantella, but that's his terrarium for what I can understand. And then we have timber! Just kidding, it's a rattlesnake, technically. You know, once upon a time, there used to be 3 separate terrariums all in this one exhibit, but they grouped it all together during this renovation, and here he is again. By way of definition, let's sort this all out. And then we have the drain turtle exhibit, but they covered it up, but you can see what it looks like today, briefly. They drained it for a brief closure, but they covered it up, so I'm thinking they're likely gonna have to turn it into a permanent one. So yeah. It looks like this sign's not even on. But we're gonna show you some amphibians, starting with the Anthony's poison dart frog. As you exit, you'll see this eastern diamondback rattler. We're gonna name him Carl after Carl, who built this in 2001. And here we have a Grand Cayman blue iguana. But unfortunately, I don't think we're gonna see him today. Not at all. Here we have the fountain, which used to be the original entrance to the zoo. Like, we are not kidding. But unfortunately, the fountain's not on. Or rather, it's been drained. But this fountain's still full of water. And look, we have a dog next to it. And here we have the old aquarium, but it's now abandoned as of 2025. And look, we are almost reaching Wings of the World. All right, going in. And it's warning us the building closes at 4:30.
She does talk a little bit, yes.
Here we have the Wings of the World sign right there, and that crane chandelier, and the evolution of flight. Here we have a beautiful, majestic aviary that you see when you enter the park, or rather, the aviary. Then we have a high-canth macaw aviary. And then we have the Birds a Global Treasure sign. Here's some more birds right there, and it looks like this exhibit is empty at the moment, but at least we still have a blue-crowed laughing thrush right there. And then we have a Toko toucan. We have a macaw aviary, we have a toucan aviary, we have everything on it. And look, here we have this big tree. Imagine putting a bird exhibit in this tree. All right, moving on, we have a Guam kingfisher hanging out on that stick. And we have another bird. And then we have a green Akari, just lonely in his little cage. We have a waterfall, and we're going under that big tree. Look at that little pond right there. And here we have the white-crested turrico, even though there are no turricos, just whatever these birds are. Next up, we have a curl-crested Akari, just hanging out over there. Then we have another exhibit, but it's off exhibit, meaning the exhibit's closed. Let's hope it's a brief one, but they don't turn it into a permanent one. Oh look, we have an out of order sign on that door. Exiting the aviary, the first thing we see, we have a mourning dove.
Look, they got a mama bird. She's sitting on her nest. You see her up there?
But we don't see him anywhere. Oh, actually, we do. And next up, we have a spectacled owl hanging out in his little branch. Oh. And here we have a view of the two from the outside and the exit only. Here we have a little hummingbird garden and their feeders. So, yeah. So, you know, there once was a series about me walking through the distinct exhibits of the Audubon Zoo that existed previously on the old channel. Now it's in the considerations of being remade on the new channel. And over here, we have this fountain. Before we head over to the sea lion exhibit, here's a brief view of that fountain over there. All right, we're now heading up the sea lion exhibits, and the first thing you see is this empty sea lion exhibit, which once held sea lions. I could imagine them putting, like, building the manatee exhibit around this former exhibit. That would be so cool to see. And here we have the arches over there. Well, we have finally reached it, the sea lion exhibit. Funny story. One time, when I was just a little kid, I actually threw a toy in that enclosure. And that's why they have that sign over there, because you don't want more people throwing toys in that sea lion exhibit. That would not be good. No, no. So maybe that sign would help prevent future incidents from occurring in the future. Looks like the zookeepers are getting the equipment for the sea lions today. Here they go underwater now. You may be able to see them from the underwater view. So let's go there now. Here is the underwater viewing of the sea lion exhibit now. Well, you can't really see some sea lions from here, but we saw them above the surface. Oh look, here comes one now.
Sea lions are known as opportunistic foragers or feeders. So that means that they're going to eat as much as they can, as fast as they can, in the wild, because they never know where their next meal is.
Here's the Coastal Wildlife Network sign depicting a variety of sea turtles, such as green sea turtle, loggerhead sea turtle, hawksbill sea turtle, leatherback sea turtle, Kemp's Ridley sea turtle, bottlenose dolphin, and West Indian manatee, which we just mentioned earlier in the video.